memorandum. That's known as NSM 20, and it requires the State Department to report to Congress on whether it finds that Israel is credible when it makes assurances that its uses of U.S. weapons do not violate U.S. law or international law. So what are the requirements of those U.S. laws when it arms other countries? And are these mechanisms applied equally across the world, especially when it comes to Israel? Today we're speaking with Stephanie Kirschgessner, Deputy Head of Investigations for the Guardian U.S., and Stephen Rickard, a Distinguished Fellow in the Human Rights Institute at Georgetown University's Law Center. Let me read something to you. This is the Leahy Law. The Leahy Law says no assistance shall be furnished to any unit of the security forces of a foreign country if the Secretary of State has credible information that such unit has committed a gross violation of human rights. Stephanie, you just did a deep dive into the Leahy Law and its practice and the use of it as applied to Israel. What did you find?
Well, generally, my findings were that the Leahy Law, as many experts have said to me, is not being really followed or executed in terms of Israel, and that somehow, even though it applies to many countries, including U.S. allies or especially U.S. allies, that it's not, for some reason, even though there are significant reports of gross and allegations of gross violations of human rights, that somehow it's not affecting Israel. And my reporting really took me, I spoke to a lot of former officials, and I saw State Department documents, and I really concluded that there are special policies in place.
They're like mechanisms, right?
Mechanisms, yes. These are sort of deep in the procedures of the State Department that basically give Israel an out, and that these do not exist for any other countries or allies.
Can you share with us a few of these mechanisms that you found?
Yeah, sure. So there are basically three that I found. First, because the way the process works is all the different, groups within the State Department or departments that are looking at an incident have to agree that a gross violation of human rights has occurred. That is not applied to anyone else. So in other instances, there can be a staff finding that this has happened. There doesn't need to be this broad consensus.
And that broadcast, as I read your article, is, different bureaus and agencies in the State Department, even our embassy, all have to come into agreement and alignment that an abuse has occurred.
Yes. So why does this exist only for Israel? The second case is that Israel is notified when such a review is occurring and of that of the specific allegation, and they have 90 days to respond. So as one former official put it, this is just delaying the process. No other country gets this kind of notification. Now, to be fair, in my discussions with the State Department, they said, look, we discuss with a lot of countries. Like, there are discussions that go on. It's not that it never happens. However...
But there's a formalized process with Israel with a 90-day return.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then the third mechanism?
And then the third mechanism, which is, in plain sight, is that the Leahy Law has been updated over the years in Congress. Congress has updated it. And in 2021, there were a bunch of countries that signed new kind of agreements within the Leahy Law agreement. So I looked at, more than a dozen of them, and only in the case of Israel is there language that says, which both, an Israeli official and Israeli ambassador, in fact, and a U.S. official, senior U.S. official, has signed off saying Israel has a robust, independent legal system, including its military justice system. So why is that important? It's important because it allows Israel to say, look, this violation may have happened, or some might believe that it happened, but we have the capability as a strong democracy with a strong justice system to take care of it. And essentially, the United States government has said, yes, that's the case.
So what I'm hearing from you, to put it in layperson language, is the Israeli military courts are their own judge and jury.
Well, I think that the U.S. government saying we